not concern you that wherever you go, you get a lot of backlash because of what you're doing?
What concerns me is I can't bring my kids away with me on vacation, having that vacation interrupted.
Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today, we're going to take a look at an interview conducted by Keenan Bexte from the Countersignal. If you guys have been watching for a while, I've been a big supporter of the Countersignal. I like what he does over there. It's a website, conservative website that brings it's honest news. It brings forward the news just like what's going on here, except in like a website format. Keenan flew over to TOFINO. He waited on the beach for hours, and then he found Justin Trudeau and questioned him. And initially, Justin Trudeau's security gets all hands-on. Trudeau gets hands-on, but eventually he caves and lets him ask a few questions. Now, Keenan put out a teaser yesterday, which I showed on this channel, my second channel. Be sure to subscribe here. I'm having some issues with my free speech on the main channel right now, so subscribe here. Justin Trudeau eventually caves, lets him ask questions, and it seemed like it was just going to be like 10 minutes of an interview, but that's not what happens here. And so let's jump into this. I've got permission from Keenan to go through this and react to this video. So big thanks, Keenan. First off, we've got Justin Trudeau on the beach and with his 3 RCMP next to him.
I'll just ask you super quickly. Your minister said they're going on vacation. No, don't put your hands on me.
Look at that. He like full on is pushing him. This isn't even just a light touch. It's a push.
Vacation. No, don't put your hands on me.
Trudeau wouldn't want that to happen.
Don't put your hands on me. Then please. The minister said that going on vacation on road trips actually causes the world to be set on fire.
Thank you, sir.
We're wondering how you can justify coming on a huge plane. Would you say that you're hiding from your caucus, actually?
Wasn't it a beautiful day?
Yes.
Are you enjoying your time on vacation?
I am, yeah.
Good. You having a good time on vacation, sir?
I'm happy to speak with you because actually
on vacation?
So what's really important here is Justin Trudeau keeps mentioning vacation, vacation, vacation. As you see this interview goes on, that is all Justin Trudeau cares about. He does not give a crap about the Canadian public. He cares about his vacation.
Time we've been
Are
able
you
to
on
speak
vacation?
with you because your government is so. We want to know why you can justify going on a chartered government flight when your minister says that going on a simple road trip.
Right here.
Okay.
Valid question.
Sure. Thank you.
I'll be with you in a bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So tell me.
I just want to know. I want you to tell me. I ask the questions. You can ask me one question. I'll ask you.
You asked about your mom. Okay.
Sure.
Do you think Prime Minister should be able to have a family life?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you imagine?
No. I didn't ask one question.
You've
You
asked
asked one
multiple
question.
questions.
You haven't answered one though. So
I'm going to ask one more.
Families.
So Trudeau is demanding that for every question that Keenan asks, he gets to ask a question back. What a controlling narcissist.
Do you prime ministers get to have a family life? Journalists also get to have access to prime ministers.
I have. Okay. So what's your question?
Well, I wanted to know if you're hiding from your caucus, why you won't call a caucus meeting.
I am not hiding from my caucus, and I've had many, many conversations and meetings with caucus. Okay, question for you now. Can you imagine, and do you think that kids who grow up in a prime minister's family deserve to have a normal-ish life with their family?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And can you understand?
Can I ask a question now?
Sure, go ahead.
So you are passing a bill right now. You're pushing through a bill that's going to, it's called the Online Harms Act. And you're sort of putting a bunch of policy in behind protecting children. You say it's all about protecting children, but that bill is actually going to censor Canadians' ability to access the internet, to exercise free speech. Why put those two bills together? Why not separate them?
Right? First of all, it's actually not doing any censoring of the internet, and it's entirely focused on protecting kids. So, my kids.
That's a weak answer. It's just like the same thing with his other answer there. Oh yeah, no, I'm not hiding from my caucus.
Spend an awful lot of their life dealing with me as Prime Minister. Every now and then, I get to go away and watch my kids playing in the water. And this is the 10 days I get on vacation for the entire summer.
For the entire summer, folks, because he gets vacations every quarter. This guy doesn't know what a real person, a real person's life is like, where we're working all year and you'd be lucky to get a couple weeks off. Like most of us are not getting any days off. He's so detached, he doesn't even understand the state that the country is in. If he really wants time with his kids, then step down. You can stay at Tofino the whole time. You don't have to be prime minister anymore, man.
And as you know, I work more days a week than the vast majority of Canadians.
You've actually taken hundreds of vacation days last year. Sorry.
You can do the math. Glenn McGregor did the math last year, pointed out how many days I work as prime minister, and it's equivalent of working every single day of the week and Saturday and not taking any day off, not any bank holidays, not 2 weeks of vacation, nothing. I work incredibly hard, and I get to be dad with my kids with nothing else going on for 10 minutes. My son was just out there in the water, splashing around, and he came to see me because he was so excited that I came out to see him, and he instead saw me, giving an interview, being prime minister again, and right now he just wants me to be my dad, and I'm trying to give him a little bit of that right now.
Maybe Trudeau should be a bit more of a better dad and step down, do what's best for this country as well, and be a better dad to your kid. How about that? This is interesting. Trudeau is looking you can just see he's looking kind of haggard. He's looking frustrated and angry. I think this is the first time he's out at Tofino without his wife, his love of his life, Sophie, and it stings. I think it stings really bad. I think he's been there every year for the last 20-something years, and this is first year without her. Who knows? Maybe last year he wasn't there with her as well, but either way, he's out there by himself. It's got to burn.
I'm happy to take questions when I'm in Ottawa. I'm happy to take questions when I'm making announcements. I do more media press conferences than any other politician these days.
Justin, can you tell me why you're Minister of Climate Change? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Trudeau says he takes all these questions. He doesn't take the questions. He only takes, like what Keenan opened with here, the only questions he takes is from his, trusted news sources that he's paying off, whether it's CBC, CTV, etc. He's not global news. He's not taking independent news media questions. He's not even answering questions from Canadians. When Canadians say, hey, Justin, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? He doesn't answer those.
Justin,
so your government has overseen the greatest collapse of news media in this country's history. When will you take responsibility for your own incompetence, Prime Minister?
so we actually had to sue you to get into the government debates.
Who do you work for?
I work for the Counter Signal, but
Okay, what is that?
formerly it's a conservative, albeit right-wing news outlet based out of Calgary, and we had to fight to get into the leaders' debates during the last election. Why did you stop? You might say it was a debate commission, but it's a debate commission that you created.
No, it's not.
Stopped a
It's
lot of
it's
independent journalists from coming in to ask questions.
The Ottawa Press Gallery is a self-regulating body of journalists who make determinations who gets to be members of political journalists in the Parliament Press Gallery. The government has no say in that. It's your peer journalists who make decisions about who gets accredited in the Parliamentary Press Gallery.
Do you think that it's a little bit strange that your minister, Mark Holland, said that going on a road trip...
We're just going to change...
No, I'm just going to keep asking you questions. Hopefully it's okay. Mark Holland said that going on a road trip is equivalent to setting the world on fire, but
you can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun, and the cost? Give up the future of the planet.
But you chartered a private government jet.
Yeah, that whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. Like, Mark Holland, that's not a good soundbite. That'll go down as one of his worst.
Let me finish my question. You chartered a government jet to Tofino, so that you could be isolated with your family. Totally fair. But lots of Canadian families want...
I'm not isolated. This is
almost the most western point in the country. You live in Ottawa. I'm not going to do the math on how much carbon that burns.
What Mark Holland was talking about was the math that the Conservative Party did on the road trips taken this summer was the equivalent of going from the tip of northern Canada to Patagonia and back 4 times. That's the kind of road trip that the Conservative Party math was actually talking about. Now, lots of Canadians going on vacation all the summer. I don't get on a commercial jet. I don't get to do a long road trip because I only take 10 days off on the summer, so I have to fly to come see my friends and family in Vancouver. If I'm going to fly to the West Coast, I have to fly on an Air Force jet, a Royal Canadian Air Force jet. Those are things that every Prime Minister has to do. It's something that is just the rules. It applies to all Prime Ministers.
I don't think anyone's debating that. It's the fact that Mark Holland is criticizing Canadians for taking road trips and burning fuel when we're supposed to be sitting at home and doing nothing, and he's allowed to fly around. That's the whole point. Editor David jumping in here. As I'm editing this video, I noticed something that Trudeau said when he was asked about this, and he started talking about Mark Holland. Let's just back up here for a second. I'll show you. He kind of Freudian slips a name here.
What Mark Holland was talking about.
Mark Holland. He's about to say Mark Carney. He's about to say Mark Carney.
Carbon that person.
What Mark Holland was.
And why would he be saying Mark Carney? Is because he's having meetings with Mark Carney. He's talking to Mark Carney. Mark Carney's on his mind. He's trying to figure out a way to bring in Mark Carney and kick out Chrystia Freeland, most likely. Bring him in as finance minister. He's trying to convince him to take the job or something. I don't know, but clearly Mark Carney's on his mind because he just about Freudian slipped that name. He already started to slip it out. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that. So something to think about. Stay tuned. Something's probably happening here with Mark Carney.
So if I'm going to go away with my family to a beautiful part of this country where I spent time growing up, I need to do it this way.
Do you see any similarities between yourself and Joe Biden's current political situation?
No.
You trying to?
Now we got a lot of questions.
Sure.
I guess my last question is, do you believe that good people should be stepping up in politics for all different parties?
I think that good people should be elected to office for sure. I think that that's an important thing.
Do you realize that one of the challenges we have right now is good people are looking at the costs of being in politics, being in public life, costs on family, costs on all sorts of different levels, and wondering whether or not it's worth it?
Are you calling yourself a good person here?
No, I am saying that my job right now is to try and encourage people to step up into politics, and that's part of what I'm doing. And a lot of people look at the aggressiveness of tracking someone down and challenging them on vacation while they're on the beach trying to spend some time with their 10-year-old son, who I'm going to have to go try and explain that to.
What a poopy pants loser. Come on, Trudeau. Oh, I have to explain it to my son. Little sonny boy. This guy was asking me questions because people are sleeping on the streets everywhere. This is so embarrassing, Trudeau. It's so, like, poor me, poor me. Like, why don't you just...
A lot of people will say, wow, I don't know that they'd want to sign up for this. And one of the challenges we have in a democracy is we need to make sure that good people from all different parties step up and not get their private time turned into public time.
Are you looking for a replacement right now?
This is interesting. This is clearly something on Trudeau's mind. He's asking, his question, it was like, should good people be in politics? Who is he talking about? Because Keenan challenged him, said, hey, are you a good person? Is that who you're talking about? And he's speaking in general. Being such a narcissist, he must be referring to himself. He thinks he's the best person. He's Mr. Good Person who's doing great for Canada. I don't know. Is he talking about someone else? This is very bizarre questioning. Very bizarre words coming from Justin Trudeau.
Are you looking for a replacement right now?
No, I am absolutely not. I am running in the next election.
Are you concerned at all about your poll numbers?
No, I am not.
What causes you to not be concerned?
Because I spend a lot of time talking with Canadians. A lot of time, focusing on the things that we're doing to actually deliver for people.
Does it not concern you that wherever you go, you get a lot of backlash because of what you're doing?
What concerns me is I can't bring my kids away with me on vacation without having that vacation interrupted and having private times at 6 o'clock in the evening on a beautiful night in a beautiful Canadian beach.
I appreciate that you want to spend time with your family. It is a great story, but the issue is a
Sorry.
Look at this story. Did you say story? Well, he didn't like that. He is so haggard about being bothered on the beach.
It's a great narrative for sure.
It's a great
but at the end of the day, Justin,
do you have any kids?
You were the prime minister. No, I don't. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, Justin, you were the prime minister.
Yes. So I'm not allowed to have a vacation with my kids.
I think that Canadians need to get answers from you more often than they do.
Okay.
I think that you hide behind press conferences, that you determine who gets access to.
Oh, if you look at his eyes there, he's like, his eyes are just crunching and crunching. He's swelling in there. Oh, he's pursed lips. Trudeau's not happy here.
So that you can make sure that state-funded journalists, no, definitely, and I appreciate that. But this is what we had to do. We had to fly out to TOFINO to find you on a beach to ask you just several questions.
That's the job you get paid. Did you do this for free, or are you going to get paid for this? If you're paid,
Hopefully I get paid. Hopefully this was good content that people want to chip in. But the thing is, you've had me arrested outside of your house, Justin. Yes, you have. Yes, Terry Guillon actually called the RCMP to pull me out of a press conference. When it was the press conference actually where you were talking about how monetary policy, you don't think about it very often. But you had your media advance. You had your media advance call the RCMP because I was going to ask questions that you didn't want. I wasn't the CBC, I wasn't CTV, I wasn't Global News. So you had me arrested, so we came
you
out.
have your countercultural way of doing things, and you're getting this message out. I hope you get lots of likes. I'm sure you will, because you have me actually engaging with you. And now I'm going to say, thank you for coming out here and doing your job to contribute to democracy. Now I'm going to go back and be with my family so that I can get back to work on contributing to democracy when I come home from vacation.
All right, thanks for your time.
Have a great day, guys.
That is the most time that an independent journalist has had.
Wow, he is so smug and so condescending, like gaslighting narcissist. I can't believe the way he's responding. I get it. He wants to be on vacation, whatever, but when Canadians are sleeping in tents, you just don't get that luxury. You got to be either fixing the country or you step down. There's no walking around on the beach and watching your kid surf in the most luxurious, expensive location in Canada. I mean, this place is, these homes out here are $10 million a piece. People aren't aware. Like, as a local, I live just an hour from TOFINO. I don't go to TOFINO because it's too expensive. Like, there's nowhere to park. There's nowhere to, like, you either need a parks pass to even park somewhere. If you go in town or whatever, everything is too expensive. There's just no point to go there. It's so overly expensive and overinflated. This is where the billionaires hang out. The locals don't go there. We go over either to Yuki or we go out in the bush. There's lots of places out in the bush. You just don't go near TOFINO because it's filled with guys like that. This was a good interview. A lot of rapid fire questions. Me personally, I would like to ask, why does he bring in only people from India? 1.4 million people last year only from India. Sure, there's going to be little speckles of other cultures. Why isn't it equally distributed? Does he own a samosas company? Does he own some sort of Indian food, pakoras company, like, and then bring in the customer? Like, what is the deal? Why is everyone coming from India? Why is he so obsessed with that country? Because it really affects our culture here. We have too many people from one nation, which sways not only the culture and food and all that, but also religion. That's why things should be equally distributed when they're brought over to Canada. So great questions though, Keenan. I mean, you got the most possible out of him because he was pretty darn snarky and grumpy.
With Justin Trudeau, I asked some questions. I had a lot more to ask. He's good at shouting back and telling a story, telling a narrative that he's formed over a long amount of time. But at the end of the day, it does tell you a lot that a journalist has to fly on 2 planes from Calgary to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver to a float plane that then flies out to TOFINO, that I then have to come out to this beach and wait here for hours until we're able to speak with our Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has to be accountable to Canadians, and Canadians are suffering more than ever. Justin Trudeau thinks that it's totally normal for him to get on a government jet flown by the Air Force. He's very proud of that. Bring his family out, bring his friends out, and hang out in this extremely exclusive area of the country so he can remain as out of touch as possible. He calls it
that's a good word, exclusive. It really is. Like, back in the day, hippies used to go and stay out there and sleep out there. Now it's just these $10 million mansions, and it's exclusive. Like, if you're not a part of that club, you don't even want to bother try being there. It's not welcoming to people who don't have a lot of money.
Vacation, but at the end of the day, Justin right now is actually hiding from his caucus. He refuses to call a caucus meeting after he lost that by-election in Toronto, a by-election that is going to cause a disaster for Justin Trudeau in the general election. It's
Fortress Toronto. He's lost it, and he's not holding himself accountable to his caucus with that failure. So we come out here to ask him some questions. I was actually delighted to see that he responded. If you want to support the work that we're doing to hold Justin Trudeau accountable, asking questions that the CBC would never ask, you can go to supportthesignal.com. If you get a subscription to the Counter Signal, you'll have unlimited access to our breaking news and stories on culture and politics in Canada. And you can also pitch in to help me cover the cost of the one-way flight that I got here and the one-way flight I'm going to get home. I am going to leave Justin to his family now, to the vacation, so he calls it, while he's in hiding for the remainder of the week here. I hope you enjoyed it, the interview, and please stay tuned for more. For the Counter Signal, I'm Cian Bexte.
We will continue to keep you informed as this story unfolds.
Yeah, this was a very interesting interview, but I think the real key moment here is when he really got grumpy about his family and talking about vacation and like basically saying that's all he cares about.
Focusing on the things that we're doing to actually deliver for people.
Does it not concern you that wherever you go, you get a lot of backlash because of what you're doing?
What concerns me is I can't bring my kids away with me on vacation, having that vacation interrupted. Go away with my family to a beautiful part of this country, trying to spend some time with their 10-year-old son, who I'm going to have to go try and explain that to. A lot of people...
This clip is just outrageous. Oh, poor you, Justin. Poor millionaire's got to explain it to his son. There's a point here where Keenan talks about being arrested and all that stuff. I think he should have just started rapid firing questions. He probably could have got a couple more answers out of Trudeau. But you can see what Trudeau did here. He started way over on the beach here where his kid was in the water. You could see initially, and then they walk to the left. You can see they're walking. He basically walked him away, almost like the same kind of tactic as like if you encounter a cougar in the wild and it's with a baby, the mother will escort you out. They typically won't jump on you and try to attack you. They will escort you. They'll keep pouncing at you and pushing you. They're essentially escorting you out. They're telling you this is the direction you gotta go. If you watch any sort of cougar videos that has a mother and a baby, a kitten, this is what they do. They escort them away about a kilometer, and then the mother sprints back to the baby. This is almost the same thing that Trudeau's doing here. He got him away from his kid, and then he wants to go back and be left alone. I'd say in most circumstances, people shouldn't be questioning the prime minister all the time on the beach on vacation. But the problem is Trudeau's policies are so bad, making life so bad for us in Canada, that this is warranted. The fact he doesn't answer questions from everyday people, from journalists he doesn't approve, this is 100% warranted and acceptable. So Trudeau needs to learn how to be a more transparent prime minister, but that's not how he rolls. So let me know what you guys thought about this. Let's just take a look at the comments here. I bet these are going to be interesting. Why is our PM pushing you? Does Justin feel kids who grow up under middle-class families deserve the ability to own a home and have jobs? Oof. Yeah, exactly, right? Justin Trudeau's doing the poopy pants thing about, going on vacation. Meanwhile, people can't. Like, people who are in their 20s or 30s, they can't afford houses. If you're in your 40s or your 50s and you didn't buy a house, good luck. Like, you can't get one now. Like, it's that bad here. The man is unbelievable narcissist. Canada has tent cities in the first time in history, but his rights are violated for interrupting his vacation. Exactly. He's just so self-absorbed about his vacation. Trudeau's so low in the polls, he needs to answer the questions now. The narcissist played the poor me card and lied through the entire interview. Only 10 days, poor rich guy. It's a 24/7 job. Trudeau talked about that, like, oh, I work so much. A lot of those things, he's got to go do one press thing. It takes like an hour and he's done for the day. There's nothing else he's not sitting there working 24 hours a day. Sure, he's got to fly over here and meet with leaders and this and that, but it's like he's going to countries and all sorts of other places having these, unreal experiences. Sure, it's a full-on job. This guy's not busy 24/7. He's just pumping his own tires. Oh, poor me, poor me, poor me. That's his narrative. Wow, what an interview. Amazing democracy. My foot, Justin. Tyranny is what you meant. I dodged a carbon footprint issue, somehow deflected to the Conservatives again, and somehow brought up controlled press rather than free press. You nailed it, Keenan. Only 10 days this summer? The poor guy. We haven't had time off for years. Exactly. I'm sitting here trying to upload videos just to get them to go through YouTube's system. And like, I'm getting crushed here, and I'm working all hours of the day to try to make this work. And this guy's complaining about his vacation. So a little update on that. I'm basically, the only thing I can really do here is start making a ton of videos and then just keep sending them into the system. And I have someone keep approving them in YouTube, which takes 3 or 4 days. So if I get enough videos queued up, then basically I can kind of run my channel on a delay of 4 days, which is ridiculous. And after, I don't know, it might take more than a week, 2, 3 weeks. It might take a month before my rating improves to the point where when I rate the videos, the system just trusts my rating versus having someone else watch my entire video and rate it. So that's where I'm at with that. If you guys are wondering where the free speech suppression stuff's going on. Such a narcissist. So that's going to wrap up this episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about that interview. If you guys want to support Cian, go to supportthesignal.com or the Counter Signal. That's not cheap, flying out from Calgary to Vancouver and then float plane over. Not cheap at all. Well, Trudeau didn't really answer the questions all that straightforward, honestly, except for he's planning on continuing and running. He's not stepping down. I 100% trust him on that one. He's not going to step down. He seemed very assertive with that. What was more interesting is the fact of him talking about his vacation and how important it is. And it just goes to show how really deep this guy, it just values himself over Canada. Like he cares so much more about himself than the country that he's in charge of. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to this channel, my second channel. We got to just start pumping this out every day because the main channel is always on a 4-day delay. I don't know what to do with it. It's driving me nuts. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.